Graduate students are upset with the University of Missouri leaders again. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
Yeah, and I'm Collin Ruane. Thanks for joining us. MU Interim Chancellor Hank Foley sent an email that upset graduate students today. Those students plan to vote on creating a graduate student union, but Foley says the university would not recognize that union. KOMU 8's Katie Camerata went to the chats with the chancellor today. Katie, what have you learned? Katie, thank you. Jefferson City Police are looking for a third suspect connected to a shootout Wednesday involving a bus full of students. They're searching for this man, 17-year-old Craig Hawkins, who they say is armed and dangerous. This comes after they arrested 20-year-old Royce Kemp and 23-year-old Jermaine Gray last night about 7 o'clock. Police say the investigation proves the school bus was not the intended target of the dispute. Police say Kemp and Gray are both facing 1 count of first-degree assault and 24 counts of second-degree assault, as well as unlawful use of a weapon and armed criminal action. They're asking anyone with information regarding Hawkins' whereabouts to call Crime Stoppers at 573-875-TIPS. The Columbia Police Department has arrested a suspect connected to a hostage situation that happened earlier this morning. Officers arrested 29-year-old Craig Green of Columbia, the 300 block of West Business Loop 70. The situation happened at about 6:45 this morning on Sexton Road. Officers were called to the scene after a female victim reported being held against her will by a man with a gun. In your other local news, the Boone County Sheriff's Office arrested a registered sex offender for breaking into a neighbor's house while naked. Deputies arrested Nathaniel Bonaparte and charged him with first-degree burglary. The 51-year-old woman says she heard her dog barking while she was in the shower and also heard a loud bang and the sound of breaking glass at the front door. A Jefferson City man is behind bars after deputies say he kidnapped and sexually assaulted a 19-year-old woman he met online. Camden County deputies arrested this man, 35-year-old Michael Eric Dixon, after meeting with the victim. The sheriff's office says Dixon took the woman to his home in Jefferson City, where he sexually assaulted her. It's no secret in this day and age, affordable housing sure can be hard to come by, so a group of Columbia leaders started a conversation about the issue today. The city hosted its annual Fair Housing and Lending Seminar. The coordinator of the event says the city has programs in place, but more still needs to be done. One realtor says even with help, many home buyers still struggle to find everything they want in a home for the right price. She says it takes a lot of patience and perseverance. Her advice, though, do not be afraid to walk away from a home. A U.S. attorney announced federal charges against 2 Missouri residents. Here's a look at those. 2 officers say 25-year-old Russell Moore Jr. and 24-year-old Victoria Boyle were involved in a shootout and car chase that led police on a chase across Columbia and Callaway County early yesterday morning. According to court affidavits, the 2 were driving a stolen Jeep and used stolen firearms, admitting they shot at police and other drivers. It was a windy one out there today. Let's go ahead and send it over to Tori for our first check of our weekend forecast. International news, police have charged a 17-year-old homeless teen in the death of a University of Texas freshman. Austin police arrested Mikhail Kreiner on Thursday as a suspect in the murder of 18-year-old Haruka Weiser. In his arrest warrant, police say they found a laptop similar to Weiser's in Kreiner's possession. Weiser's body was found near a creek on Tuesday. Officials confirmed 2 people are dead after a shooting that happened this morning at the Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. A Pentagon official says an airman shot his squadron commander. The sheriff's office ruled it as a murder-suicide. No arrests have been reported, but officials say the situation is over and the lockdown has been lifted. Amid concerns over the Zika virus and corruption in Rio de Janeiro, officials are moving ahead with preparations for the Summer Olympics. Today, Brazil's president unveiled a newly built aquatic center. The embattled president is facing possible impeachment for a series of scandals and investigations. The Olympic preparation also comes amid Brazil's worst recession in decades. Organizers are racing to save money through a series of cost-cutting measures. The number of people applying for asylum in Germany has more than doubled compared to the same quarter last year. The figures were released today. They show just shy of 200,000 people applied. That's an increase of 112% from last year. The numbers are a symptom of Europe's worst migrant crisis in years as wars rage in Iraq and Syria. Spring practice is in full swing for MSU Football. Hear what one Tiger receiver had to say about the team's offensive potential next. This little guy is getting ready to enjoy retirement. His name is Robbie, and he's the longest tenured canine in the Waterloo, Iowa Police Department. He's been sniffing narcotics out since 2006 and is 12 years old. Get this, he has helped the unit find hundreds of pounds of illegal narcotics in more than 100 searches. Coming up on KOMU 8 News today, tomorrow morning, this is an interesting one. You'll be seeing at least 5,000 rubber ducks dropped 40 feet high in Columbia.
How the Central Missouri Humane Society plans to make it to the finish line for the homeless animals in its care. That's tomorrow at 9 a.m. on KOMU 8 News Weekend Today.
Part of next weekend. And with that, we'll hopefully see some warmer temperatures.
I'm only looking at those 70s at the end of the forecast.
I know, just block everything
That's all
else
I
out.
care about. Keep your eye on the good stuff. That's our time for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you tomorrow morning starting at 9 a.m.
On air, online, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the News app, and the Weather app. KOMU 8 News. Coverage you can count on.